Welcome to Seltzer Squad, the podcast about staying sober in the city, with your hosts, Kate Sander and Jess Valentine.
Hey, Kate, you know what's so awesome?
What?
That we're sponsored by Brainwashed Coffee. And Brainwashed Coffee is amazing because not only does it taste good, but they give 50% of proceeds back to addiction recovery.
Not only that, they give back to our Seltzer Squad because if you use our discount code Seltzer Squad at checkout, you receive 20% off of your order.
Holy shit, that's amazing. And that's on top of how they already give you free shipping if you get 3 bags of coffee.
So visit brainwashedcoffeeco.com, use the code Seltzer Squad at checkout, get 20% off, get yourself some free shipping, and get yourself some coffee as a sober treat.
Hey, Kate, how can people get more Seltzer Squad in their lives?
We have finally launched our Seltzer Squad Patreon, where you'll be able to get early access to episodes on Wednesdays instead of Fridays, our monthly bonus episode. And if you really love us and you're the slickest bitch around, you will also be able to see video podcast recordings.
I mean, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want more Kate and Jess in their lives?
But in all seriousness, it really does help us move the podcast forward.
Yes. Subscribe at patreon.com/Seltzer Squad and help us keep this pod going.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Jessica. We were
How are
just
you?
saying that as we record, the day goes on, we get like weirder. That's why I like
Yeah.
to end with hot mess. But right now, we're not doing that. We are going to
not
answer some
doing it.
questions. Stay tuned for a
Yes.
future hot mess episode, which I'm sure will be weird because we're getting weird. So I
You
want
okay?
to
Have you had too much
answer.
coffee?
I want to answer some more questions because we have a lot of questions in our inbox.
We do. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start? How
I'm
do you
going
want
to start. I'm going to start at the top of the inbox with A.
Okay.
I'm writing to you guys because I'm seeking some advice about my very rocky sobriety and my relationship with my boyfriend. I'm 25 and I started seeing a therapist for the first time earlier this year. After about a month, she was constantly telling me that I should stop drinking to see how it would make me feel. At first, I hated it, obvi, but after the month challenge was up, I wasn't craving booze as much and I was beginning to feel better. I did go back to drinking, however, but I find I want to do it less, and especially as I notice the positive changes it has brought to my life. My boyfriend, who I live with, loves to drink and does not deal with the same sort of mental health issues I do, and doesn't get the same level of terrible 2 to 3 day psychologically and physically debilitating hangovers that I do. I can very much relate to that. He was very supportive of me taking a month off, but now I think he's not so keen on me choosing sobriety long term. He says he doesn't think I'm an alcoholic and that I am willing to moderate. It makes me feel alone and sad because first I'm being told by all these people that I should take a break from drinking because I drink too much, and now I'm being told that I'm not a real alcoholic. He's very sweet and supportive in so many ways, but I just feel like he isn't going to want to be with me as much if I'm not drinking and partying. He has said it puts a strain on our relationship but that's mainly because he has friends over at least once a week drinking and doing coke from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. And it drives me crazy.
What?
Am I a 25-year-old loser grandma now who doesn't even have the right to be because I'm not a real alcoholic?
Oh my
I
God.
have so many feelings.
Yeah, dump them.
I'm like getting hives. And then she
Oh
says,
my
I'm sorry, this
God.
email feels like it's spiraling.
Oh my God.
Like, where do I start?
Like, okay. I mean, dump them.
I mean,
No.
yeah, like
I know that's easy. No, I know that's like it's easy for me to say. He is not supportive at all. He is detrimental to your sobriety and mental health. That's emotionally abusive. I've got so much to say. I do not like this guy for you.
for you.
I don't like him for her. Also, like, do you really need to be around like people doing fucking blow until 2 o'clock in the morning? Like, I get that you're 25. Don't get me wrong. Like, been there. But the difference between her and I is that she's smart enough to realize now
at
that she doesn't
25.
want to. Yeah. Like, good on you. Also, like, I know this is going to sound so like negative, but like most people don't stay with the person that they're with at 25. So I don't want her
Yeah.
to dumb down her life because this guy's being a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah,
like he's
dude's
holding
dulling your
100%
light.
holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
we
like
are
him for
bringing
her.
the tough love today. Fuck. Here's the thing. You live with him that's hard. You've been with him. Obviously, he has a different lifestyle than you do, but I think if you're thinking about a relationship in terms of, values, and I don't think about me loving my husband because we like to go out and party. Like, I enjoy his company. We have the same values. He respects me. I respect him. I think, like, if I'm thinking in terms of a relationship, partying from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. is for both of us, he and I, not how we value our time. So I think if you're just looking at it objectively, as far as if this is kind of where he's at and you're not there, then, it doesn't mean you have to break up today. It doesn't mean you have to end things. I think I agree with you, Jess, in a very blunt term, but I think in the interest of like what you do today, what you do tomorrow, is prioritizing your highest good will always be the best thing for you. And a lot of people are going to have a problem with that. That could be your mom. That could be your live-in boyfriend. That could be your boss. Like, you choosing yourself and self-preservation, a lot of people are going to have a problem with that because they were counting on you to sort of reinforce their behaviors, be that drinking, be that being emotionally abusive, be that, codependency. The minute you start to take care of yourself, a lot of people in your life are going to show up to be unsupportive because you're now no longer being responsible for them by being responsible for yourself. And I think that's kind of what's happening here. And by him trying to label you not an alcoholic, whether or not you are or you're not, you feel better when you're not drinking. So I think that's the nugget to hold on to. You feel more on track. You get a 3-day hangover if you're drinking. I think that if you choose to stay in the relationship, obviously some boundaries need to be made about, you don't get to have an opinion about it. Like, when I quit drinking, my husband didn't, and he was still out doing blow until, well, I don't want to totally blow up his spot, but he was definitely out doing, drinking and doing things that I wasn't doing when I was sober, and I was home and I was alone. And there was a moment in our relationship where I thought to myself, like, is this something that I want to continue with? Just as much as it was for him when I was getting really fucked up and blacking out, he had a realization, is this somebody that I want to be with? So in both of those situations, we were reflecting on what's in our highest good. And for me, it was hard to quit drinking and remove myself from that situation. But I also, in my relationship, he saw how much happier I was and how much better I was doing and was happy for me long term, even though I'm sure a part of him, and I know a part of him, missed, the fact that we couldn't do those things together anymore. But I think as now I can tell you, as like an elder millennial perspective, an elder sober perspective, is that I don't think he would rewind to go back to me having 3-day hangovers for anything.
Yeah.
And it might just be like shocking to his system. Like, maybe this is too much too soon. Maybe he needs to, sit on the idea, but that does not mean that you should change what is working for you because of him.
Yeah. Agreed.
Give him some time to like adjust, but also set some boundaries. Like, hey, not cool to do drugs in our house anymore. Go do them somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a good.
Like,
I'm just so mad at him right now.
Like, you don't need to change anything, but like, here's what's okay and not okay in my house, our house that we share together.
Agreed. Okay. I'm going to read one from H.
Mm-hmm.
I hit rock bottom last year and was able to finally admit to myself I was an alcoholic after I lost a friend due to my drinking and also my home. We were roommates. I went to AA for a while, but it didn't feel like it was ever for me. I ended up breaking my sobriety and haven't been able to get another streak down. I literally have been binging your podcast all week and then got blackout last night. I don't know what's wrong with me or if I'll ever be okay, but I would like some advice to how to finally close the nightmarish chapter in my life.
H. What do you think?
I don't like it when people write to us when they're hungover. So, I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just like, you got to figure it out,
I
dude.
think, like, the first things first, nothing's wrong with you. That's like, you're exactly what is supposed to be happening is happening. Like,
agreed.
And you will be okay. You are okay.
But
I think it's hard to break those cycles. Like, you were doing AA, you were going to meetings. It didn't feel like that was the place for you, but
that's fine.
The responsibility then is find somewhere where you feel like you do belong. And, we always go back to the very basics of building a toolkit of, okay, well, break down what happened last night in a blackout binge. What led you to, the arrival at having a drink in your hand? think about all the things that happened between, you being sober and not really connecting to meetings to having a drink in your hand, because a lot of stuff happened in between those two things that happened. And then think about, what are 5 ways that you could have chosen something different than ending up with the drink in your hand. And don't beat yourself up about the blackout. Like, it happened. It's over.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to have one drink, like say she just was going to have one. I mean, I'm not surprised that she blacked out, right? Because it's very easy to do that. But it's like you said, like leading up, like what made you choose to drink? Like, that you've been wanting to be, have a sober streak. Let's not even say sober, have a sober streak.
Sure.
You've been binging a sober podcast. So obviously that says something.
It's been in top of mind.
Yeah. You've lost your best friend and your home due to drinking. So like, why are you still making these choices that are sabotaging yourself? I
think like slow down, because it seems like a lot happened in a short amount of time. I don't have like a frame of reference. I also don't have a frame of reference if you lost your friend as in they passed away, or you lost your friend as in your friend is backing away from the friendship because of your drinking. Like, I don't have clear.
She said she lost her friend due to her drinking. So I think that person put up the boundaries.
Got it.
And they were roommates, so they kicked her out.
So part of me thinks that you're maybe like, in your sad sack a little bit, being like, I got kicked out, I'm a bad person, so therefore I'm gonna, prove them right by doing bad things, which, go like have your sad sack party for as long as you need to, but that you can pull yourself up. You know that you can quit drinking because you've done it before. You can do it again for sure. All of us have done it multiple times. Yeah, you got to figure out what triggered that blackout. And then you got to figure out what you can do next time when those same feelings come up, so that you're able to process the feelings versus running to get a drink to escape them.
Yeah. It sounds like you might want to even like find a therapist, because maybe you're not dealing with some sort of trauma, and losing your best friend and being kicked out is traumatic in itself, especially when you have all the guilt and shame because it was like around your drinking. So, I mean, I know people hate when we recommend therapists because it's not a cheap option, but that I really think would be beneficial for this chickie.
I think also there are other, supportive areas. You can join our Discord, join our Facebook group. There are monthly payment programs that are a lot more affordable and accessible than a therapy experience where you can go to meetings online. We have friends that are part of membership circles where there are, tons of meetings every single week. So maybe if you're not connecting to a particular vibe, you can try something else, but don't be discouraged. And you probably feel really beat up right now, but you have all of our support to try again. And that's all you can do. Jess, what's our number one piece of advice when people are getting sober?
Therapy.
So much therapy that I'm going to school to be a giver of therapy.
This is true.
BetterHelp reached out to partner with us at the Seltzer Squad to offer 10% off a monthly membership to BetterHelp.com.
What is BetterHelp.com?
BetterHelp is an online therapy platform that is for individuals, for couples. You take a short quiz, you get matched up with a mental health professional, and you, through the app, are able to video, or you can just message back and forth with a licensed professional to give you counseling and guidance on anything and everything that you're going through.
So how do our listeners use our code?
You just go to betterhelp.com/Seltzer Squad and you'll receive 10% off your first month. Jess, are you listening to any good books?
Right now, I'm actually listening to an Audible exclusive podcast.
Ooh. I'm listening to Blackout by Sarah Hepola.
Oh, I listened to that one back in the day.
I mean, I'm a huge proponent of Audible. I love listening to Quit Lit or really any book. But did you know, Squad, that you can use our discount code to get a free month of Audible? Meaning you get a free book if you sign up?
That's right. Just go to audibletrial.com/Seltzer Squad and get a free month on us. I actually just signed up myself using it.
Want to read another one?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That's fine.
Okay. I'm going to go down to M.
Okay.
I love your podcast so much. It helps me feel not alone in what I've been experiencing for years of heavy drinking making decisions I regret, blackouts, and most recently driving drunk. This is my second break. This is my second break from drinking. My first time testing sobriety was last June for 3 months, and when I started back, it was fine for a while, but my tolerance built up, and I was right back a few months later. I've decided to try again, and I hit my 1 month mark on the 15th. Yay! I feel great and stronger than ever. I have my first big event this Saturday. I'll be going to a wedding, which I'm not concerned about because I'm very committed to not making an ass of myself as I am the maid of honor. Good for you. But coming up this May, I have a weekend-long bachelorette party. These fucking bachelorette parties, man. Beach trip that is already stressing me out. This will be my first vacation in over a year, and it's a batch party, so I know everybody will be drinking and day drinking. Plus, they are planning to check out bars down there. I'm clearly nervous about this whole situation. It's triggering. I'll be 3 months sober in the beginning of May before this trip, and I'm already having conflicting thoughts. Well, unfortunately, I think this trip has passed, so we apologize.
I'm curious how that went.
But what do you think?
But for other
Because a
people
lot
that
of people
are
are
like,
coming out hot of quarantine.
I know.
You know
I
how I
don't know,
feel about
'cause
bachelorette parties.
You hate them.
I hate them.
Okay, yeah. I don't really want to have one myself or like do something fun with the girls, but the whole idea of a bachelorette party is like, ugh.
Well, here's the thing.
It's
You're the
hard
maid
because
of
she's
honor.
the maid of honor. I feel like that kind of is what makes it a whole different thing because she wants to show up. However, if she's the maid of honor, then it means that she's obviously very close with the bride, and the bride should be understanding if she's like, hey, I need to sit this one out. I'd love to do something with you personally.
Sure. That's where
Just
my
the two
mind
of us.
was.
Yeah. Or like another time with the girls, like bachelorette party, like 2.0, where it's like more of a daytime thing where it's not
like a pedicure
revolving
moment.
around. Yeah. Where it's like not revolving around drinking. That would be my, like, that's mine. But if it's stressing you out, well, it was stressing her out. Like, don't go. Don't go. You do not have to go. Boundaries.
It makes me think about that time where you traveled down to the south with a friend and you were really nervous about it. And what were your thoughts? Do you wish that you had gone or not gone? Like if you could do it all over again? Because that was
fine.
early.
Was it? Yeah. There was just like one night that I probably wouldn't have gone with everyone. I probably would have just stayed at the Airbnb. But yeah, it's hard because it was like this. It feels like that so long ago because it was. But yeah, I think that's like pretty decent advice that we gave.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
like,
just pull your friend aside, be honest. If your friend is a supportive friend, like a actually supportive friend, they're going to be like, totally get it. Do what's right for you. If they're like, come on, I would just make sure. I mean, what you're already paying to go to this bachelorette party, I would like want my own fucking hotel room. At this point in my sobriety, I'd be like, I'm getting my own room, Yeah. I'm not going to be awake till 4:00 in the morning when like one girl starts to break down and cry. And like, I'm just not, I'm not here for that anymore.
I've only been to one bachelorette party.
I haven't really gone. My friends aren't like travel destination bachelorette party friends. So I don't know.
We just went to a drag show and stuff. And I can't remember if I was sober or not. I honestly don't remember. I think I was, but I'm not sure. But
I will say I've also gone to parties where everybody else has been super hammered. Like I went to a holiday Christmas party that I was sort of dreading, and we went and did karaoke, and I had like a great time doing sober karaoke. So don't sell yourself short that like, they don't, once they're like at a certain point of drunk, like it doesn't, they're not thinking about you really at all anyway. So make it the most for yourself. So, budget in some like downtime for yourself if you did that. But if you're listening to this, write back in and tell us what happened so we can.
I was just going to say we want to know though. Okay. I'm going to read M. Okay. All right. M just hit 15 months of sobriety. I'm 23 years old, senior in college. I took 1 full year off to get my addiction under control, which really helped. During this time, my intensive outpatient counselor kept saying substances like weed are something everyone who has an addiction problem should not get into. I understand this from the AA perspective, but I was wondering what y'all thought about it. I have been testing the waters in it for about 3 months now and haven't really found anything horrible or off about it, although that is how alcohol started for me. What do you think about the issue? I understand this might trigger some other listeners, so if it's not a good question for your audience, that's completely fine. Very thoughtful and considerate.
Heyo, sending love from Michigan.
I don't know. I don't really.
Cali sober.
It's Cali sober. It's called Cali sober. And you can read up more about it. If it's what works for you, then it's what works for you. People use marijuana in a bunch of different ways, which obviously you know that. It's also legal now most places. So I personally don't have any thoughts on it. I
Do you
don't like
do
weed.
marijuana?
No, I
Like
don't
you
like
do
it.
CBD, but I didn't know if you like did
Mhm.
pens or anything like that.
I don't like the way it makes me feel. It makes me feel fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just really sensitive to it, and I'm not trying to feel fucked up. And it doesn't make me the fucked up that I like.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me the fucked up, like sleepy, tired. I don't like that. I'm an upper person. So maybe if it did the opposite, I would. But yeah.
I'm a weed user. So we had like some edibles or like mints or whatever at the beginning of quarantine. And so we used those up, and then there was nothing. And I guess it didn't really occur to me that like there wasn't any, and I didn't feel like I needed to find any. So
Yeah.
I always observe my behavior around things that I know can be tricky. So I know that if I'm drinking or not drinking, my mind is on how much alcohol is around. And so therefore I know that's a sticky situation for me. So for weed, I don't really like need to struggle to go get it. Like I don't want it that bad, which again, this is a personal thing. I can't say that it couldn't become a problem for me, but like you, we recently, because it's legal, completely legal in New Jersey now, we bought some. And so we got like a whole range of things. Like we got like pre-rolled joints, and we got mints, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I noticed that in smoking it, I did not like how I felt. I felt like melted. And then the next day I felt weird. Like my stomach hurt and I felt groggy. And so like, I'm not willing to, like, usually I'll excuse that because it makes, you know, I'm like, well, I'm smoking weed, like it's fun. But the fact that like it makes me feel shitty will deter me from smoking it, which means in my mind that I'm like, wow, like look at me having self-control. So I don't really partake in that. I also know that for me, it is a little bit of an escapism trigger. So I feel like
that's what I was going to ask you about.
Like that's why for me, I know it can be tricky. So if I'm
about.
having a bad day and I'm like, I need to go home and smoke some weed, then I know that that's like
that's a coping mechanism.
To me, it's an alcoholic behavior where it's like I need this thing in order to relax, instead of like, okay, well, why don't I just feel the feeling versus needing to escape whatever I am doing, versus like my cramps are out of control right now, I'm going to eat this weed mint because it helps my cramps. Like I don't, to me, I can make that psychological distinction, but it's also something that I do not use every day, do not use every 3 day. You know what I mean? Like it's a very once in a while thing for me. So, but there is part of my mind that like still makes me feel like a badass because I will do it occasionally. So I don't know. There's probably something unhealthy there for sure. Just like the same thing when you're like, oh, I'm going to eat a piece of cake. Like I'm so naughty.
Yeah.
Like it's that same sort of like feeling for me, but it's not like an urgency where drinking used to be, you know, you'd have a bad day and you'd be like, I need to go to the bar and have a drink to calm down. If I have that feeling about weed, then I'm like, nah, I need to stay away from it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. I've never been a big like weed person at all, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe I want an edible. Is that bad? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like because obviously, I don't know.
I just think that like a therapist who's like, this is a gateway, is also using a little bit of fear mongering on you. Like anything can be addictive. Like some people are addicted to eating light bulbs, you know? I don't know. Like, I don't think we need to, as a person in recovery, I also need to be full of fear every day that every single thing that I'm doing, I could get addicted to.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about that. One more, we good?
One more, we good? I don't know.
Should I read? Well, maybe you can answer this one. This one's short. It's from C. Hi. I'm wondering if y'all have thoughts about being sober as a queer person and the queer community's relationship to alcohol. Casual. Like, that's a very big question, but what do you think, honestly?
I don't know if I really understand the question because what does like sexuality have to do with it?
I think that potentially people who are in the queer community may have, like, they experience trauma at a greater rate because of the societal connotations around, you know what I mean? Queerness. So they might be medicating.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I definitely, when I not came out, because I came out when I was like 13, but like when I was a young baby dyke or whatever you want to call it, I was going to the bars and clubs all the time. And I know like around Pride, there's like lots of Pride parties and stuff like that. And people get shit faced. I don't know though. I don't know if it's hard. I don't know if it has anything to do with like my sexuality. It doesn't really have anything to do with my drinking addiction. So I feel like even though yes, I'm gay, I don't really have a clear answer. Maybe if maybe the question's just too vague for me.
Do you think
But
that
I
that's
feel
also
like, yeah.
potentially because you did you have a positive coming out experience, or did you deal with like familial, like a lot of people have shame, I think, around potentially like the experience of their parents maybe reacting to their sexuality and therefore using it as a coping mechanism? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it could be. I mean, I had a very positive experience. I was 13, came out as gay. Later on, a few years later, started dating a guy. That's when I actually was confused because I was like, why am I dating a guy? Like I had the opposite coming. And I was like, wait, why am I attracted to this person? Which I realize now I was not attracted to, but that's like a whole daddy issue thing that we don't really need to unpack right now.
Yeah.
And
Unrelated to this question.
Unrelated. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe, I mean, drinking definitely is, I guess, big in the queer community. I'm guessing that's where they're getting at, but I feel like just like with straight people or non-queer people, like there's alcoholics and there's non-alcoholics, right? So I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not like much help.
I feel like we can also ask other queer guests if we ever have them.
I feel like if we had like a more concrete
contextual
questions, yeah, contextual, exactly. Then I could probably give you some better insight. But for right now, it doesn't affect my being queer, and my queerness doesn't affect my alcoholism. I have gone to gay AA meetings. I mean, there's that. If you're looking for other sober queers, then you can find, again, I can't remember exactly how it is, but if you go to AA, I think there's like subcategories of different meetings and there are gay and lesbian ones. So check that out if you are looking to meet queer friends, because that's a really great tool. Even if you don't like AA, it will help you network. So just like fucking do it for a couple meetings. Is that okay? Is that okay?
That was great. All right.
All right,
well,
cool.
There you go, squad. You can always email us your questions at seltzersquadpod@gmail.com. You can send them on Instagram, but sometimes we miss those. So please email them.
Send them to the email.
Yeah. Until we meet again, Jessica.
Be nice to yourself.
Don't forget.
And don't forget.
Hangovers
suck.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Every review helps other listeners find us. Music by Dead Go West. Art by Kate Sander. For show notes and resources, check out seltzersquad.com.